What's up, man? Phoenix Traders. Today, October 17th, 2024, Thursday. So, get to it. So, yesterday we made 753. So, today I'm only trading 3 micros. Usually I trade 4. And I want to risk $200 a trade, like max. Like, it don't have to be $200 exactly. Wherever the stop loss makes sense. But 3 trades, if I lose 3, so $600 a day, the most I lose. But I have to make more, because for me to make basically $700 yesterday and then risk $600 today, don't make sense. I mean, I'll be up $100. So basically, yesterday was for nothing. So you gotta take your blessings when God gives it to you, So I'm only risking 150 each trade, so that's like $450. Yeah, had $300. That's the worst case scenario, So usually, if I win, my winning day is supposed to be more than my losing days, like $1,000 a day. That's good, But $700 a day, that's good. But on a losing day, that's $600. So y'all get what I'm trying to say, though. Gotta do the math. You gotta treat it like a business. So I'm only risking 3 micros, maximum $150 a trade today. Now, if I keep winning, I'll probably risk go up on Saturday, depending on how it is. But let's see if we got moves today. So yesterday I ain't talking much, but that was the beginning of this journey. When you start, the first step is not to talk, it's take action. Second step, talk to yourself with your plan. Speak the plan into existence to somebody you trust, which is yourself. Right now, nobody viewing my channel, whatever I post, so it's still, me talking to myself. Or if you're somebody else, and you can talk to somebody you trust, like let your family know, But the first step, don't talk, just do it, So I don't know if I should keep on motivation videos while I play, because I don't like talking like that. I'm not trying to entertain, I want to have motivation stuff. So 30. We got a lot of news today, man. It's gonna be volatile. So let's see what we have.
Takes guts. You got to dig down deep to gut it out. Keep on going again and again and again until you make it happen, because you know that it's possible. Now, what do you do during the hard times, Les? Here's what you must do. Number one is you must have faith. Paul said you must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. Judge not according to appearances. Don't judge your circumstances and the possibilities for your future based upon what you have now and because of what's going on now. No. That's not the real reality there. What you're going through, if you're going through some hard times, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. It's all right. Now, second thing is, repeat this after me. Something you should affirm to yourself every day. Repeat this, please. No matter how bad it is, or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. Say that to yourself every day. As I used to say to myself, when I would get up in the Penobscot building and I had to go into the bathroom and bathe in the bathroom sink, I had written on the mirror that I put up there, just paste up, and I read, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. So you got to have faith. You talk to yourself. You say that affirmation. The next step is you must have patience and engage in consistent action. Patience and engage in consistent action. See, everything does not always happen, ladies and gentlemen, when we want it to happen. It doesn't happen quickly. So in that process, they have something in the Far East called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree, every day it has to be watered and fertilized. It's a very hard nut, and it takes 5 years of watering and fertilization every day, according to American Geographic, before it breaks through the ground. At any time, if the watering process and the nurturing and the fertilization process is stopped, the Chinese bamboo tree will die in the ground. Now, once it breaks through in that 5th year, then in 6 weeks it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet in 5 years or 6 weeks? The answer is obvious. It takes 5 years. That's how long it took to grow it, to build that foundation, to nurture it, to water it, to build the reputation, to build the credibility, to learn the market, to learn people, to learn yourself, to learn how to do it, to figure it out. That's why you must have patience and engage in consistent action. We live in a world, ladies and gentlemen, where people want instant gratification. They want it right now, but they're not willing to pay the price to do what it takes. They think it was easy. No.
Order filled.
It's simple, but it's not easy. It's a system that if you work the system, it works if you work it. But make no mistake about it, it's hard. You are the determining factor. Here's something else. It's possible you can live your dream. No matter how bad it is, or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write them down, that you surround yourself with a support team, that you are creative. It's you that you must take personal responsibility to make it happen. The people that make it in this world look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. It's hard. No, easy is not an option. However, ladies and gentlemen, what you will discover is that it's worth it. It's worth it. I suggest to you, if you want to become diamond, write down 5 reasons of why it is worth it for you to become a diamond, to experience that level of achievement. What is it that will give you the drive? What is it that will ignite the courage in you to get up and come back again and again and again? How is it that you would be able, what reasons that can tap in to that deep down feeling that goes to your gut, that no matter how many times you get knocked down, that you're coming back? What is it? Write it down. When I started and left Miami pursuing my dream, because I knew that as long as you work for someone else, they are controlling your destiny. I didn't want anybody signing my paycheck but me. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I knew it was going to be hard. But every time I thought about giving up, and there were times I did, because where I am, ladies and gentlemen, it's a long shot. You think being a diamond is a long shot? This is a miracle. This is a long shot.
Order filled.
And I had people laughing at me. Les, you're talking about being a motivational speaker? You failed twice in school. They put you back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and you failed in the 8th grade? You've never worked for a major corporation, and you are going to become independently wealthy. Right. They laugh. They're going to laugh at you. People are going to laugh at you. But let me tell you, I believe in revenge like Frank Sinatra. He said the best revenge is massive success. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. But I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. You can live your dream as you hold on to that dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's not going to be easy. As you go toward the future, begin to know that you have greatness within you. Begin to envision yourselves to reach your goals. If you want a thing bad enough, go out and fight for it. Work day and night for it. Give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. What if we have that kind of attitude? The cause repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
turn up the volume.
Now, what's the difference? I want to tell you about two men that I know. One I knew because he's gone now. Lost their jobs. Two of them laid off, worked the same place. One started going out looking for a job. Other one also went out looking for a job. Something came into play for both of them that happens to us every day. It's called eyesight and mind sight. Eyesight is what you see in your life. I tell you, look into the future. What is it you want? What is it you'd like to create for you? In order to begin to choose your future, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to release your past. You've got to release your history to create a new reality for yourself. Most people live out of their memory as opposed to their imagination. Einstein said the imagination is the preview of what's to come in your life. So most people don't use their imaginations. Most people don't dream anymore. Why? Because through the conditioning process of life, after so many rejections, see, you know what you can do. You know what you have done. And you also have seen what has been done by others in your environment and by others in your circumstances. Then you look at where you want to go. And what most people do, they do that which they feel they know that can work because they've already done it or they've seen it done. And so they allow their negative history to determine the possibilities for them. And so when they run into a roadblock, even if they have something beyond their comfort zone, when they run into a roadblock, something happens to them. Guy just finished writing about this in the book. He did extensive study, and he talked about your self-explanatory style. This is what happened to these two men. Both of them worked for the same company. They were laid off. They went out looking for jobs. They faced rejection after rejection after rejection. No, we don't have any work. No, we don't have any work. No, we don't have any work. One stopped going after around 25 turndowns. And he felt personally rejected. He internalized it. He stayed home. He became angry. He became bitter. He became cynical. He started looking at television every day. Then started having a beer and then another beer. And this guy just gave up. And his wife said, why don't you go and just try again? And he, look here, there are no jobs out there. And then he became argumentative and toxic. This other guy kept on working at trying to find a job, kept on looking, and was willing to do anything, odds and ends. He just kept on going. Other guy stopped, stayed home, started feeling sorry for himself, became angry, started telling anybody who would listen about his employer and how wrong they were, and started talking about how much money he lost, and that's all he knew how to do. And he became more and more depressed, more and more withdrawn, angrier and angrier and angrier. Then he started talking to other negative people just like himself, drowning himself in self-pity and sorrow and other toxic, do-nothing, hopeless people like himself. And pretty soon, one day he got up after several months, about 2 or 3 months, and drove his wife to work. Said, look, I'd like to use the car today. She said, why? She was kind of happy, thought he was going to start going out looking for a job again. He said, yes, I am. Drove his wife to work, dropped the kids off to school, came home, drove into the garage, closed the door, left the car running, and took his young 37-year-old life. His mind sight told him, your situation is hopeless. And the fact that his wife was working and supportive of him really didn't mean anything. He felt less than a man because he couldn't provide for his family. He looked at his situation and he felt like he couldn't get out. There's no hope for him. He kept on reading the newspapers and listening to the television and other negative people, and he felt there was no way out. Other guy, around 5 or 6 months later, guy who kept on facing those no's and rejections and whose explanatory style told him there must be a job somewhere, someplace out here with my name on it. He kept on and he found one. Two men faced with the same thing. Both of them saw the circumstances they were in exactly the same, but they interpreted and saw it differently. Your mindset determines in many ways, in many cases, what you see as possible for you based upon what you've done and what you know has been done. And most people allow life to control them and their circumstances and people and events, just like the guy who took his life. As we begin to look at what we want, as we begin to look toward the future, here's what I'm saying and suggesting to you, that in order to begin to take charge of your life and to reshape your future, what's going to be crucial for you is to look toward the future, and every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, putting yourself down, being negative about you and the possibilities for you, you've got to literally catch yourself. And you've got to affirm to yourself in the process, hey, no, I can make it. I can make this some way.
this can happen for me. You've got to remind yourself that you've got powers within you, talents within you that you haven't even reached for yet. That you've got to go outside of your comfort zone. A lot of things we say we don't like because we haven't even tried them. That once you give yourself an opportunity to try and to experiment with your life, to stretch, you'll find out you can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. I would not tell you this if I have not experienced this myself. I used to be in an audience just like you, hearing people talk, and I just, wait a minute, there was a part of me, there was a chatter. See, 87% of our self-talk, how we explain things to ourselves, is negative. That's been given to us by life. 87% of our thoughts are negative because we live in a negative environment. We think 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day, according to many psychologists. So in order to begin to create what you want, one of the things we're going to have to do is use some tools over the next 6 weeks as you work and begin to develop a different kind of mindset for you and your future to change that inner conversation and your thinking orientation. I guarantee you that you will change the results that you produce this year and all the years to come in your life. Now, I'm telling you this based upon my own experience. How many of you were in the audience when I used to come here 5 years ago and I used to have my tapes like this in a rubber band? How many of you remember? Raise your hand. You used to see. And Jack came up stage one time after seeing me pursuing my dream. See, whatever dream you got, that dream, that idea, that has been given to you. Nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody's going to make Les Brown tapes but Les Brown. That's yours. Nobody's going to open up your store, write your book. Nobody's going to open up your shopping center, your school, your daycare. Nobody's going to create your home-operated business. Nobody's going to heal your relationship. Nobody's going to come up with that economic renaissance idea or the idea to begin to retrain our kids and create a new kind of concept and approach to education. Everybody showed up with something that's been given to you. You came here with something, and I think our goal and our challenge is to keep on till we find it. Find out what it is that you're supposed to do. And it's going to come to you at some point in time. But many times you got to experiment. You got to be willing to challenge yourself to go outside of your comfort zone and do some different things sometimes. That's where I was in terms of my job, in terms of my employment. I didn't like where I was. And so if you don't like it, you got to be willing to do something about it rather than just saying, I don't like it. Well, what are you going to do about it? Just keep on whining. Life is not for whining and weeping. Life is for doing something.
Your future is in your hands. You know what that means? You got to work on your mind. Fortify yourself. You know what that means? You got to upgrade, level up your skill set. You know what that means? That means you want to be in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships that's going in your direction. And anybody that don't have the mindset that you have, let them go. Well, Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. I was trying to help my twin brother lose weight. I gained 25 pounds. Trying to help my brother lose weight. Because when you speak and talk to people, you dilute your energy. A person who's not willing to help themselves, you can't help them. Frederick Douglass said it best. He said, why help a man stand on his feet if he doesn't have enough gumption to lock his knees? When you let him go, his head will hit the pavement. Whoa, come on. Think about that. If you're ready for a change, if you got a book in you and say, I'm in, my compilation book is going to be called The Hungry Ones. I want your story, The Hungry Ones. And then I'm going to do a speaking summit with the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to tell your signature story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to make money with your story, the hungry ones. I'm going to teach you how to become a national and global voice. Yeah, how I did it. And it's easier now. It's like taking cake from a baby. It's easier because of this computer. 2007, Time magazine said the computer was the person of the year. Why? Because you can create a global business with your phone or your computer. You can learn anything on here. And now the majority of money that's being generated in the economy is done at a computer, going from brick and mortar to click and order. Listen what, and remember what Maya Angelou said. She said, there's nothing as painful as an untold story buried in your soul. When you hear me speak, you know I'm talking to you. You know I'm coming for you. There's something in you that wants to be birthed. The water has broken. There's something in you that's ready to come out. You know it.
I want to ask you, how many of you have some great things you want to happen to you and this year and years to come? Raise your hands, please. Very good. You know, I said to Mike the other day, I came in the office, I said, you know, Mike, this is going to be a great year for us. He said, no less. I said, no, I mean a great decade. He said, no less. It's going to be a great life. Let's say it's going to be a great life. Let's say that. Isn't that the way we want to look at it? We don't just want one good year, one good decade. We want a great life. That's what we want. Now, what prevents us? How do we block ourselves from having that? There are several things that happen, ladies and gentlemen. Once you think about whatever it is that you have desired, whatever that you think that will give your life a sense of meaning and purpose and direction, whatever you think will give you a sense of fulfillment, I just want you to think about this. I want you to think about this year coming up, this year that we're now in. I want you to look at the future, and I want you to think about what is it that will enable us to do that, and why is it that most people don't? I've had some tremendous breakthroughs. Many of you were here when I first came, over 5 years ago, pursuing a dream, working on creating and building and choosing a different kind of future. And it's always intrigued me what prevent most people from doing that. And when I first became intrigued at it and with it, it was at a point in my time when I was not where I wanted to be. I just felt at where I was at that point in time, it had to be more. I was working at a job, it wasn't going anywhere, I wasn't happy, and I wasn't making any money. Around payday, I would get angry. Now, you seem like you would get happy when it's time for you to get paid. But when I said, thank God it's Friday, it wasn't because I felt good about getting paid. Because I knew before I even got that check, that money was already gone. It was already allocated. So I felt like I wasn't working for anything. And I said there had to be more to life than this, just working every day and scuffling and getting up in the morning and going through the same changes every day and robbing Peter to pay Paul. Had to be more than that. Life was boring. And it seemed for a period of my life I was in a rut. And the harder I scuffled, the digger the hole I dug. Just kept on, just getting deeper. The harder I worked at trying to get out. I said it had to be more. And then I would see people on television doing things. And I said, well, I sure like to do that. And saw people enjoying themselves and enjoying a great life. I said, I sure like to do that. But something happened to me, ladies and gentlemen, that I think happened to a lot of people. I've had a major breakthrough. I'm going to share with you some things that have worked for me. I'm not even asking you to believe me. I'm not asking you to agree with me. All I'm suggesting is that as you look at your life, that as we begin to work and start building a strong launching pad, and this trail that I've been on, I said, if I can prove this with my life, I'm going to get a goal. I'm going to get a dream. I'm going to have a vision of myself that will take me out of my comfort zone. Something that, as you look at it, somebody might say, that's impossible. You can't do that. But something that I like. I'm going to find me something that turns me on. See, at that point in time, I had not found my reason for being. I had not found the purpose of my life. And I had a very insecure feeling about myself. I didn't feel good about me. I didn't have the confidence that I wanted. And here's what I discovered, that when you don't have a grip on your purpose in life, when life doesn't have that special meaning and power for you, there is insecurity. But once you find your purpose, once you know why you showed up, and I believe all of us showed up to do something. Everybody here, you showed up to do something. There's something that's going to be done by you and nobody else. That's what you showed up to do. And if you don't do it, we all will be deprived. All achievement, ladies and gentlemen, comes out of the human mind. Everything, constructive or destructive, comes out of the human mind. I'm just asking you to experiment with me. Watch the results in your life. This is what I've used. I've produced some incredible results in my life. Okay, Mastermind Goal Achievers Journal. You can get it in the bookstore. Here's what you do. Once you go to that page there dealing with goals, all right? You write your goal down. Now, if you don't know what your goal is right now, don't worry. Just make something up and write that down. You got to have something you're aiming at. People are aiming at nothing in life, end up hitting nothing dead on the head. So you got to have a target. You got to have a target. See, Zig Ziglar talking about don't become a wandering generality, All right. Okay, now one of the things you're going to do, what are the things you've done this past year that you feel grateful about? I feel good about the fact that I achieved one of my major goals when I was on PBS. I enjoyed that. Other thing is I had a major goal in 1991. I told my staff I'm going to do $1 million. We did $1,020,000 in 1991. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Take my word for it. Man who said that money is the root of all evil just flat out didn't have any. It's a good feeling to start off a year not owing anybody. That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling inside. Now, if somebody told you that money's not good for you, you just tell them, that's all right. Give me what you got. I feel good that my cholesterol level was at 245, is now down to 185. I'm managing my food choices. Instead of eating 3 packs of M&M's a day, I just down, I'm kind of kicking. I got a M&M support group. I'm down to half a pack a day. All right. You got to have these little goals. I feel very good about that. All right? I feel good about the fact that I told myself I couldn't manage a business because I never had any business classes. I'm now managing my own business. So I'm having some fun. So what do? You want to begin, look at what your goals are. Write your goals down. Then you got a personal inventory here. You write down what it is you want to achieve, also the goals and things you want to do in your book. One of my goals was to improve my relationship with my children, to manage my time more effectively, to spend time with them. As a divorced father, I live in Detroit, Michigan. My children live in Columbus, Ohio. So I had to manage my time, flying back and forth, flying them in to me, but scheduling and making that important of spending time with my children. It's easy to send them to check, something else to put them in my life and allow them to be able to have the influence of my personality and my presence. So that's one of the goals I had. One of the goals I had was that all my life, my brother and I have always had arguments. We had an adversarial relationship, my brother and my sister. One of my goals was that I was going to improve my relationship with my brother, that I love him, and the fact that he used to tease me and all the things that he did to me and I did to him didn't matter anymore. That the love that we had for each other was far more important. It just didn't matter. I just decided that I wasn't going to allow whatever he said about me to get me upset anymore. See, people that lose out in life allow themselves to be controlled by life, by people, and circumstances. So that was one of my goals, to improve my relationship with him, to have a loving relationship. I've never been able, for the 46 years I've been on the planet, to be around my brother for more than 20 minutes without an argument or a fight. We had a fight at his wedding. Am I right, Wesley? I didn't speak to my brother for 2 years. We couldn't be around each other. Now, we've been together, and you working in the company, and I give you money and everything, and we love each other, don't we? Have we had any arguments? None whatsoever. So what am I doing? You got to proactively prepare to catch yourselves. When you find yourself getting negative with people that you have allowed to push your buttons, when you find yourself becoming negative about what's happening to you and the circumstances that you're involved in. Now, here's something else. Whatever you're doing, I want you to go all out. Decide to position your life, to give more in life. Why? Because when you give more, the more energy you give, the more activity that you become involved in and making a difference in life, the more that life can express through you, can write through you, can move through you, can create through you, can do things through you to change the lives of children through you. See, you are an outlet for all that life has. And as you change your mindset, as you begin to know, hey, wait a minute, I've got something to give. I showed up with something. I'm here. I have some value. I am approved. My life is good as it is. And I can make a difference. That's very important as you begin to look toward the future and view yourself as a channel for life to express through. You don't have no time to mess around. You got to concentrate your thoughts. See, when you're thinking those thoughts all day, every day, you got to focus those thinking. Those thoughts have power. Oh, they have power. But you got to harness it. You got to, I don't tell you 2 steps, but there are going to be several, but it's 2 big ones. Here's one, is that whatever you want, you got to focus your thinking. You own it, zero in on it, think about it, focus your thoughts. Now, as you do that, you're growing in consciousness, and that will increase your manifesting power. Some things will happen quickly, some things take longer, but after a while, remember, some of y'all know, 5 years ago, I couldn't do what I'm doing right now. I couldn't draw these numbers right now. But as I've grown in consciousness, so has been my capacity to manifest larger audiences and the results that I want to produce in my life. But I concentrated. What are some of the tools you use? Now, some of us know what our purpose is, and most of us don't consciously, but subconsciously, you know what it is. It's in you. You showed up with that in you. How do birds know how to fly from the north to the south during winter, and no one ever gave them any navigational training or told them which way to go? How do they know how to do that? They showed up with it. I believe we got that in us.
There most certainly are times when we feel like that. When you say, I don't have any idea whatsoever of what I'm going to do to pull this out. Been in situations like that where I had deadlines I had to meet. I didn't meet those deadlines, and I lost a car, lost a home, lights were cut off, telephone was cut off. All of those things are going to happen to you at different points in life. Now, question is, what does it really mean? It really doesn't mean anything. It's not important at all. It's just a temporary inconvenience because all of those things can be corrected. And it's a part of the process that we all go through. Now, the challenge is, in the midst of all of these things, one, to stay focused on your goal, and two, to keep your expectations of making it happen and keeping your energy positive and relentlessly looking for ways in order to pull it out. And I guarantee you that there will be some intervention. What causes it? I don't know. That will seem like it's supernatural. I'll give you an example. I remember once when I lost my job, when I was fired out of broadcasting, September 18th, I'll never forget, 1978. I was behind in my house notes, and my house was up for foreclosure. I did everything I could. I had borrowed as much money as I could borrow. I had talked to family members and friends. I did everything I could, and I couldn't get enough money, being unemployed for several months, applying for job after job after job, and couldn't get a job. I couldn't get enough money to save the house, but I never felt, and this is very important, the feeling that I had, never felt that I was going to lose that house. I wanted that house. And so what I did was very uncanny. I released it. I did the best that I could. And at that time, with the limited money that I did have, I decided to take a trip spend time in the sun with my children. We caught a Greyhound bus from Columbus, Ohio, and we went to Florida. By the time I arrived on the day that the bank was to foreclose at 12 noon on the house, I got a call from one of my former assistants who went by the house and called me and said, "Les, it's an emergency. Call Columbus right away." I did, and Carolyn Sloan said, "Les, you won't believe this. You have a check from the Internal Revenue Service on your income tax." And it was enough to pay the house notes, and I had money over. I never received a refund prior to that time or since that time, and I did not lose the house. So there are things that we don't know or understand, but we do know that if we do certain things, that things begin to happen that's in our favor, that shows that the universe is on our side. Everything that we're seeking, I believe that if we begin to align our thoughts, don't try 2 or 3 things or 15 or 20 things, but 100 things, 500 things if necessary, 10,000 things as Edison did if necessary, until we find a way out. Many of us, we eliminate many possibilities for ourselves because we really don't do all we can do. I think A.L. Williams was right when he said, all we can do is all we can do, and all we can do is enough. And I think, honestly speaking, even judging from myself, I think that my commitment is stronger than most people. But if I had to literally measure what I put forth in my dream, I would say that I might have given about 18 to 20% of what I'm really capable of. As high in consciousness as I believe that I am, comparatively speaking, where I used to be, I'm still nowhere near reaching 50% of the commitment that I can make to accelerate the growth and the development of my dream and the manifestation of the things that I know within myself that I'm capable of producing. So our biggest challenge is beginning to look at within ourselves to remove those energy blocks, because if we are not producing the income that we want, let us not look outside of ourselves, but look within ourselves to find out, how am I blocking me? Am I really giving it all that I have? Am I really being as creative as I can be? Am I really unstoppable? Am I as relentless as I can be? Am I exhausting every means possible? Am I turning up every rock to find what it is that I'm looking for? That what resides between our ears, when we're thinking about how do I come up with $500, $1,200, or $2,000, is the same gray matter that resides between the ears of a Ross Perot or Donald Trump when his bankers say, you've got 30. How is it that one man or woman can do it and do 1,000,000 times more than these other people, and the other ones don't? It has to be consciousness. It has to be, and when we talk about consciousness, we're talking about a collection of our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions and experiences used as an active force to produce in our lives that which we want to produce. Because everything that exists in life the microphones that we're speaking in, the shoes that we have on our feet, the chairs that we're sitting in, the clothes that we're wearing, the homes that we live in, the cars that we drive, all of that came out of our consciousness. That all came out of the invisible into the visible. And man was a vehicle, the outlet to produce that. Wherever we have stopped in our dream, we stopped at a place called willingness. Anybody that's fallen short of their goals, they ran into something that they were not willing to handle. Because in order to reach your dream, in order to make things happen, there must be a willingness to do what is required. If the need is to raise $2,000, and let's say you have a set of tapes for $40, are you willing to make 200 calls a day? Are you willing to stand on a corner and talk to people and say, listen, I've got a set of tapes here that can change your life? Are you willing to make the commitment that you will not go to sleep until you sell at least 10 tapes a day? Are you willing to say, if it takes me 12 hours walking and talking to people all day long until I find 10 people that will say yes? If I have to talk to 200 people or 300 people, that in order to provide food for my family, to provide shelter, to not to have creditors hounding me, am I willing to talk to 300 people a day? Am I willing to stand in an airport and sell tapes? Am I willing to go out and make calls again and again and again? Am I willing to knock on doors? Am I willing to do that? See, if we have some skill, some ability, some knowledge, or some product, then the only thing that's between us and what we want to generate is our willingness to expend the energy to produce the results that we want. Am I willing to wash cars? Am I willing to scrub floors? Am I willing to wash dishes? Am I willing to go out and speak or do seminars or workshops? What am I willing to do with my energy, my time, and my knowledge to produce the results? That's the bottom line. What are you willing to do? And what most people don't realize is they don't give up on their goals because it becomes insurmountable or it's impossible. Is that they just looked at what they wanted and they just decided within themselves, consciously or unconsciously, I'm not willing to produce this result. Are you willing to say that I need $2,000 between now and next week, and come hell or high water, I will produce that? That's the bottom line. Because the only thing that counts in life are results, not reasons of why you didn't do it, but results. That's the only thing that counts. And we are capable of producing results. That's it. That's the bottom line. Are you willing to honor your commitment to do that? What are you willing to do? How many floors are you willing to mop? How many shoes are you willing to shine? How many phone calls are you willing to make? How many sales are you willing to make? How many jobs are you willing to hold? How much service are you willing to provide? But most people don't keep their commitments. They are not willing to be a no matter what person. That I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Most people use escape routes for themselves. Most people have something that they could point to justify why they haven't produced the results. Some reason. Well, people weren't buying, or the economy is soft. Somebody somewhere is buying. Somebody somewhere is spending some money. So as we begin to look at where we are, every time when I was working on developing my dream, and I knew that I had to do something, that I had to do it, I was always able to pull it out. Because I started thinking, Walt Disney can do it. If a John D. Rockefeller can do it, then I can do it. Am I to believe that they have some license of exclusivity on producing wealth or producing results that I don't have? I think that it was a key given to us. I was reading the book called Succeeding Against the Odds by John H. Johnson. Good book. He said, for it is the most enduring element of our faith that I must conclude this speech by saying that men and women are limited not by the place of their birth, not by the color of their skin, but by the size of their hope. What is the size of your hope? As we begin to look at what it is we want to produce in our lives, I think another question could be asked, or to paraphrase what he said, what is the size of our commitment to make it happen? See, when you ask people to become a no matter what person, something inside of them begins to tremble because of the fact that we aren't accustomed to saying, I'm going to make this happen. Most people won't do that. Won't take that kind of stand and saying, I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Most people won't do that. That takes energy. That takes conviction. That takes a determination and a mindset. I'm going to do this. And I say that once you make the commitment, and that's what Goethe meant, and that whole piece he says about commitment, he says, once you make a commitment, providence moves too. All kinds of things happen that never would have happened. A whole stream of things happen that you could never anticipate it. I know that. And I think that Longfellow was right, who said, if you go to the gate and you knock loud enough and long enough, somebody's going to answer.
I was in Poland, and I had a chance to meet a young man who'd never seen me in person, but he heard my voice. He was going through some tough times. He'd lost his mother, and he decided to bring me to Poland. He heard my voice, and it changed his life at a time that he was struggling, dealing with the passing of his mother, and he just lost connection with himself. And I just thought about what an honor it was to be able to reach him. And one of the things, as I reflect on my life, I believe that we're all here for a reason, and we're all here for a purpose. As a 17-year cancer conqueror, I know that I have been given grace so that I can do something amazing with my life. I want to thank you for your support, for your prayers, and you have a voice. You have a story. And I say that it's on you to do something with your voice. It's on you to take responsibility, to use your story, to change people's lives. And there are people around the world who are waiting to hear you. I'm reminded of something Dr. Howard Thurman, who was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer and Mahatma Gandhi. He said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide and voice you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I say to you that the reason that you're listening to me right now is that you decided that you have a voice, that you have a story. There's something that you want to do with your voice and your story and your life. You have a dream to pull your own strings, to control your own destiny. You know, Helen Keller said life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. And you've decided, I want to make my life a daring adventure. How bad do you want it? How hungry are you? I see life waltzing with me, saying, you want a tango? Come on. You want?
Man, look, we done for the day, man. Just made 938. That's decent. I wasn't trading right today, though. I was going from NQ to MNQ. But that's because the levels, I trusted them. But that was not good because you can't always be sure of what's going to happen. So my plan today was risk 150 each trade. And I didn't follow my plan. But it worked out good. But that's not good. That's not a good habit you want to pick up on. So, thank you, God, and the universe. But I wasn't supposed to do what I did. I wasn't supposed to make this money today. So, but like I said, man, trading, man, is all about controlling yourself. You can't lose control, not even for 1 second, because I lost control today. But I made profit, but the market will take this back this week. 9 times out of 10, because I didn't follow my plan. You know, I'm gonna try to not let it take it back by coming here tomorrow and following my plan. That's because I didn't want to lose. You know, you gotta accept loss sometimes, bad days. But I'm done for today. So 938. So now the account is at 51,691. Let's go.